He's going to talk about mines. Shana Montana reading the little lows. She's putting me on blast. Whoa, yeah. And there's a road who has to get on. He's just an old outcast. Can we all say the O-N-E-S-O-N? Hashtag. Wait a minute. At last, it's a Doneson podcast.
So I was hungry one night and it was raining very, 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 very hard. And when I say very, very, very hard, it was hard for me to see, right? So I got out the car and I walked into this joint called Right Wing.
Wait, what?
Right Wing. All right. And I was like, oh man, this must be a new wing joint, right? So it was this huge building. And I'm like, man, I'm just looking for some chicken wings, right?
Oh my God.
So the place looked like it could seat about 100 people. So I didn't see a menu. So I walked in and I just started ordering because I saw the lady at the front and I said, let me get 2 quarter darks, 1 drum heavy on the lemon pepper loose style. Okay. And the lady looked at me crazy and she said, this is a political office.
Right wing.
Okay.
Get up out of here. Quit playing with it.
But that being said, check us out every Monday for the audio version of Doneson Podcast. And every Wednesday, we're on YouTube. The channel is titled The Doneson Podcast.
All right, now.
All right. So, hey, how's everybody doing?
Doing great.
Doing
How you doing,
Great.
How you doing,
I'm
Montana?
doing great.
Feeling good, feeling great.
Feeling
All right.
good.
But y'all know what it's time for.
We do.
all in these cities, right? Andy, it's time for Gossip in the City.
Moss Point, Mississippi. Lauren Johnson, the hoe of the sip, getting her nails done off the dime of Joe Johnson, had the nerve to complain about a chipped nail last weekend. Honey, go and get you a job. Now, get a job, please.
Good job, honey.
Shit, Joe Johnson.
Portsmouth, Virginia. Christmas came early for fellas who knew Uncle Steve's new girlfriend. She went from house to house, neighborhood to neighbors. Anyone with a fire stick, she was the deliverer of that box. You hear me? Ho, ho, ho. Dayton, Ohio. How in the world, or for the life of me, I cannot figure out why Frederick Stevenson can't get or find a job. I got a hold to one of his high school teachers. My. Looks like he was caught cheating because his homework had his daddy's signature on it. But get this, it was 4 different signatures.
Wow.
Wait for it.
I guess, daddy's signatures, he had 4
man.
different daddies. Okay. All right, now, y'all, we all love this Doneson trivia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get it.
All right.
It's the Doneson Trivial Show. This is how it goes. You're asked 4 questions. You have to get 3 out of 4 right. If not, you're a dumbass. And here's your host, Rod.
So our illustrious guest is, we got to circle back around. It's the initials are U-R. Who could that be, y'all? Shannon Montana, who could that be? Uncle Rico.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, who?
She's like, who the hell is
You
R?
are.
You had to think,
No,
you
who
had
the
to
hell
think
is
that
you
hard.
are?
Y'all have so many crazy names
think
on
that
this show.
hard.
Right. There's so many crazy names on this show.
I'm sitting over here like, okay, here I
You are.
go. All right, here we
You
go.
are so beautiful.
You are
to me.
To me.
You are.
All right, here we go.
All right. Ready on. Question number
I think
1.
I am.
Question number 1. How many stocks make up the Dow Jones Industrial average? A, 30 or B, 55?
Say that again.
How many stocks make up the Dow Jones Industrial Average? A, 30, B, 55.
I'm gonna go B, 55.
You're wrong, huh? Yeah, you're wrong. All right, you gotta at least get 3 of
30.
these right. Right, you gotta get 3. All right, number 2, since 1929, what has been the average percentage return of the stock market? A, 10%, B, 12%. I can repeat that for you if you want.
Yeah, do that.
Okay. Now, since 1929, what has been the average percentage return of the stock market? A, 10%, B, 12%.
12%.
You're wrong, huh?
It's 10.
Yeah. All right, you got 2 more. Now, if you get these last 2 right, we might
give you some grace.
But you,
I'm
we
gonna
might
be a
give you some
dumbass.
grace. You want to be a dumbass? Go sit in that corner. All right, so this is number 3. What do you call a person who rapidly buys and sells stocks throughout the day? A, day trader, or B, a day broker?
A day trader.
You are right, huh?
Yeah, I knew that
You all
one.
right.
All right, come home with this, huh?
Yeah.
Number 4. Which term most accurately describes selling shares at a higher price than the price at which they were bought? A, profit, B, gains.
That's a
And I can repeat that
bro,
again.
Go both ways. What the hell you talking about?
It can only be one answer, but we
Ooh,
can
I think
repeat
I
I'm
it.
gonna
know.
go with gains then. No, profit.
I think that's
no,
the-
that's
I think-
profit.
What?
That's
What
profit.
is it? I didn't hear the first part you said. You said profit?
Yeah, that's profit.
You're
yeah.
right, huh?
Yeah, that's profit.
You're
yeah, I
right.
just thought about that. Gains is the it's profit. Yeah,
All
profit.
right, so
yeah.
you got 1,
I got 2 out of 4.
Hey, guess what? Huh?
I'm a dumbass.
You's a dumbass.
Don't do them.
Nobody escapes being a dumbass.
Don't do it. Reconsider. Don't do it.
Yeah.
All right, Shanna Montana. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Ángel la ciencia.
Atatatita.
The big bag.
You wrote me,
You got me.
it's just something about it later.
Do you really?
Montana is the crazy. Do you want my opinion? It's maybe game over for ya. Really, 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 really.
All right. So send your game over letter to www.doneson.com or Doneson_leagues on Instagram. So today's letter is titled Black Boss, and it's from JS from Ardmore, Pennsylvania. And the age range is 26 to 32. So during our meeting, he looks timid. He fumbles through the pieces of paper. People that walk in late, he doesn't say anything. When somebody challenges him, he doesn't say anything. He's very calculated. I have no respect for him right now. Why? I just don't know. Maybe it's the color of his skin. At meetings, I sit back and I daydream about how he got this position. I must admit that anybody of color that gets a position of management has to be smart, has to be intelligent, well vetted. They don't just hire black people here. Hasn't happened at all. We practice nepotism here. Maybe they hired him because we needed a government contract. Who knows? The decision that he makes, I wonder what he's really like when he goes home to his family. Does he treat them the same fearful and cautious? That must suck for him. I've heard black women treat their men like dogs too.
Damn.
Episode 1. The second guessing. The questioning the financial and family decisions behind his back. I'm thinking to myself, I want to give him a hard time just to test him, just to see if he will put me in my place, if he doesn't give me the power. If he does, then others will test him. He will keep testing. Because I was raised not to let another person of color tell you what to do or how to do it all of my working life, I haven't had a boss of color until now. I heard from family members that a person of color trying to tell you what to do, that is not acceptable. This is the thing we have. We have to act differently when they are around. Meaning, my boss who is black, we can't say certain things. When I had a white boss, we could say anything. Nobody was sensitive. Now, going to work is different. Now, you have to watch what you say. You have to watch how you say it. I wish I had a white boss. Period. If I ask for more money or if I ask for a promotion, he's going to give it to me just because he knows I want to be accepted. He wants to be on my good side, likable. But they'll find something wrong with him. If enough of us complain, second guess him, doubt him, question his authority, nobody's going to come down hard on us. He'll exit the building before any one of us would. Maybe some expense report that wasn't turned in on time. Maybe a corporate credit card with a questionable charge. I know that he's not going to be my boss for too long. I'll give him about 7 months to a year. They'll get rid of him somehow. Then the office can get back to normal. Or maybe when we don't need that government contract.
Damn. All right. So, Andy, take it away. Tell me what you think about this letter.
This shit is crazy. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. Nothing but pure evil that exists in these cities and states. Please help me to understand this pure hatred and this nonsense. Please help me make sense of it.
Okay. Hey, you a boss? I mean, everybody on here is a boss, but you a boss. Do you feel some type of way that when you go into a meeting that the pressure is on you, or that you have to act a certain way, or you be like, it is what it is? Tell me your thinking sometimes when you have to go into a meeting. You think maybe you're judged differently? Or
No, it is what it is, man. And speaking quite frankly, you know, I went into a meeting a couple of years ago where I was the acting general manager because we didn't have one. Mm-hmm. And the VP asked me a certain question. It was a failure on my part. And he asked me, he said, what happened here, Larry? And I just simply said, I dropped the ball.
What do you mean by drop the ball? What do you?
I failed to execute a proper procedure in moving some product because I'm preoccupied dealing with other stuff.
Right.
Because you got to understand, I was operating in a mode, in a position that I'm not a GM.
Right.
Yeah. But I had to take over that role for a period of time until they found one.
Right.
And I dropped the ball on certain things. Something didn't get executed properly like it should have.
Right.
And we was in the meeting. He said, what happened here? I said, I just dropped the ball, man. And he looked at me. He said, move on. Let's move on, y'all. And then let's discuss. Because I ain't trying to sugarcoat it. I ain't trying to blame it on somebody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what most people do. And I noticed that because I used to be in a lot of those meetings. I used to sit in on a lot of them at one point in time. And I used to see how people would fail. Instead of accepting the responsibility that they failed, they tried to rationalize it and blame it on somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
A loyal, somebody under them.
Right.
And I wasn't going to do that to my team. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I knew what I should have done, but it slipped my mind and I got caught up doing something else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I dropped the ball. I missed it. Gained more respect out of the VP for that right there. Because he used to people coming in and shifting the blame. I tried to shift the blame on my team. I took responsibility for it. I dropped the ball.
Owned it.
Right.
Ownership.
Owned it. And, that's what, a lot of that happens in corporate America, man. A lot of finger pointing.
Right.
And I watches that all the time. People, can't take responsibility for their own failure.
Right.
They want to blame somebody else. And it's sad, man. It's just sad. Because what's the worst they can do to you? They can't kill you.
Right.
Good grief. The only thing they can say is demote you or fire you.
Right. And
You go find another job. But come on, man. Don't shift that on somebody else that ain't had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Because you can't stand up and take responsibility for your own failure.
Right.
None of us is perfect in life.
Right.
And that's what we got to understand. A lot of people think they're perfect and don't want to take responsibility for nothing, man. They want to shift the blame on everybody else away from them. And that's just a sad way to be. I wouldn't even try to live like that. And I don't live like that because I'm the type of person, man, I double check myself on my tasks and what I do. I'm just a supervisor, but I double check myself. I just, if I got something I need to do and I need to make sure that it's right, I check it. I come back and I check it again because I don't trust my check.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
that's just the way I operate. But
Yep.
like I said, that point in time, I had a lot on my plate.
I get it.
and I dropped the ball on that one.
Right.
So I ain't trying to blame it on my team. On my teams, I told them, no,
Which you've seen so many of them do.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Okay.
But I said, no, I ain't gonna do that. Because I knew what I should have done, but I just forgot
Right.
to do it.
And you owned up to it.
And I own up to it, man. You know,
Man,
so-
we love you as
Yeah,
Shannon
yeah,
Montana.
yeah, I
What
got
you?
on
I know you've been a boss for a minute.
Yeah.
You've been a boss now.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you got your own projects outside of your corporate job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you've been a boss in that way. You've been a boss inside your corporate job.
Yeah.
So has it ever been a thing where you felt that people didn't think you could do the job, or you had that feeling the night before?
No, the thing is, I've been very blessed that I've had opportunities to be the boss in corporate America and non-corporate America. I've been with my job now for 10 years. I've been in a management position for 9 of those 10.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, I got promoted to like management when I was 25 years old.
Okay.
So I was the youngest in a room we're talking about race, full of white men and women.
Right.
They were in their 40s. I'm 25. What is she doing here?
Right. You felt that, or
No, but I mean, I know it was a question, but then it was like, because I actually was crazy. I got brought in by a white man who came in, and I think he saw my leadership. He saw I had 3 degrees.
Wow.
He saw that I had taught. He saw all my leadership. He saw me as the person who I am without all the things to take away from me because I'm a black woman.
Right.
It was like in that moment, as it should be, my race had nothing to do with it. He saw I was a qualified woman to come in.
Right.
And so I'm in this room with these people who've been here all these years, but I could always hold my own and hold my own space. And I was able to come in and add value from day one to present day 10 years later. So
Right.
I think I've been very blessed in that sense that people are able to rely on me and look to me in that way as a leader where I've been able to lead the pack. And I've seen, because we're talking about color and race. I've seen black, white, Latina. I've seen everything come through.
Right.
I've seen great leaders. I've seen people who have no business here. I'm not even looking at color. I'm just looking like, how did you get in this room? What did you do to get here?
Right.
In those positions, so you look at it. So I've been very fortunate. I really haven't encountered anything that's been held against me because of my race, but I have sat in a room. What I have encountered is people because, just a longer story short, we're in Nashville.
Right.
I manage people in Florida. I manage people in Cookville. I manage people in Atlanta.
Right.
So I've had people that have never laid eyes on me, don't know what I look like. They talking to me over the phone.
Yeah.
Have made a decision about me and gone to HR because I talk too sternly to them.
Whoa. And they don't know what you look like, or
Not at all. They don't know.
Uh-huh.
Unless they look me up on Facebook,
Right.
So they don't know. So I've been, like he talked about going to HR, all this stuff. It's really laughable because we have a very serious HR department, but people will go to HR about anything. So I've been in those situations where, fortunately, I haven't had it really come on me, but people have come at me and gone to HR about different things. And it might have been because I'm a black woman. It might have been because I'm a strong woman, because I'm a confrontational person.
Right.
But at the end, it was like, she's done nothing wrong. You just don't like her personality.
Right. So you think it comes down to more personality than color? Skin color?
Absolutely. Because in dealing with people, I am the same way with everybody. I'm all about it. Work, we are professionals. I love to have a good time at work, but guess what? We're going to get back to the business. We can talk about Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl this year all we want to. But we're going to get back to the business of the work. So, I mean, some people can't balance that. So, yeah, you know, she was too firm. She was too this. And then HR is like, she didn't do nothing wrong.
Wow.
You know, so, you know, but also to wrap it up, what Uncle Rico said, ownership is huge. I'm like that in, I would say, even everyday life. I tell people, when I do something wrong, I'm quick to be like, yeah, I messed up. What I got to do to fix it? It makes things go away faster when you own it.
Right.
I love to own things. And for people who have ownership, so I could see like why your boss was like, let's move on. We know what happened. Let's go from there.
Let's go from there.
Because they could have spent 30 minutes trying to figure out, well, who did what? You know, that's not necessary.
And necessary.
Exactly. But
I'm sitting in this meeting with, you know, I'm just a supervisor. Everybody in here is GMs
all that
and above.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I've sat in rooms
so why I'm gonna sit there and try to sugarcoat it when I knew I just dropped the ball?
Exactly. And I've sat in rooms with people, you know, I work in the banking industry, so we dealing with a lot of money. A lot of big people, they making 6-7 figures. And I'm on conference calls with these people where I'm able to have conversations and they are impressed. But in my mind, I'm like, I ain't even said nothing. I ain't even used my big vocabulary. But they impressed because I'm educated. I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And unfortunately, for some companies, that's diversity. You got a young black woman sitting on a call.
They love it.
Saying, they eat it up.
Right.
You know, so let's listen to what Shayna said. Like,
Right.
I'm at home rolling my eyes because we work from home.
Right.
You know, so I get it. It's a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful experience. Oliver, what do you think about the conversation that everybody just had here?
You're upset because your boss is black? Mate, who taught you this? Your mama? Like the song goes, she get it from her mama? Hey. If your mama's real ugly, I guaranteed they're going to be ugly like the mama. Like the mama. They get it from the mama.
You know what?
Hey.
Oliver on one.
All right. Today's theme is corporate plantation. Now, check this out. We're talking about this now, right? So the executive suite is still one of America's most exclusive and impenetrable clubs. Okay. Got it. We're right. Okay. With the corporation hierarchy most closely assembling a plantation, heavily white at the top, black labor at the bottom, struggling to move up. There's a major difference between diversity and exclusiveness. We want not only to be in the room, not only to be at the table, but also contribute to the decision-making process. All right, you heard that before, right?
Yeah.
Now the benefits, corporate culture. How to be lily white. Step 1. When hiring, make sure candidates of color undergo a distinct selected process that no other candidates experience. Include additional requirements not previously posted on the job description that hold candidates of color to different higher standards. Let your gut determine culture fit and who is extended an offer. All right. Step 2, concentrate employees of color in administrative and supportive roles. Make sure they are engaged in office homework or housework versus glamour work to steer them clear of promotion tracks that will accelerate their pathway to managerial and executive roles. When asked to be transparent about workforce data by racial demographics, flat out refuse to provide simplistic pie charts instead of raw numbers. If those attempts fail, deflect attention from abysmal racial diversity by touting gender diversity. The increase in white women hired. Step 3. In your media, online, and visual presence, ensure no one more than one token person of color is featured, if any at all. In job descriptions, use vernacular like ninja and rockstar. I mean, I use ninja to describe black people, but ninja and rockstar to attract more white men. Most team building activities, offsite and networking events as locations that are exclusive to whites. You're welcome for that information. All right. Number 2, systematic racism. How can you detect discrimination in the workplace? Like a diversity in your workplace, you may notice it if most of the people are a certain age, gender, or race. Odd interviewing questions. I've been asked odd interviewing questions.
Yeah.
Okay, inappropriate jokes. I've had that in the break room when nobody's around, or in the parking lot.
Yeah.
High turnover rate. We're letting go Leroy this time. I know. All right, fixed roles. How come I got to play the slave at work? No, I'm just kidding. That's not in here. I'm just saying.
Shut up, Brian.
Promotion denial. Yeah. Demeaning leadership and favoritism. All right. And number 3, corporations. Especially during Halloween. Like, how come I got to be dressed up as a slave at Halloween? All right. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Corporations. How come? No, I'm just kidding. All right. What many may not know is that slavery also rests at the foundations of many notable corporations. Now, listen to this.
Aetna Inc., the United States' largest health insurer, apologized for selling policies in the 1850s that reimbursed slave owners for financial losses when the enslaved Africans they owned died. J.P. Morgan Chase, between 1831 and 1865, 2 of our predecessor banks, Citizens Bank and Canal Bank in Louisiana, accepted approximately 13,000 enslaved individuals as collateral on loans and took ownership of approximately 1,250 of them when the plantation owners defaulted on the loans. New York Life Insurance Company is the largest mutual life insurance company in the United States. They also took part in slavery by selling insurance policies on enslaved Africans. CSX used slave labor to construct portions of some U.S. rail lines. Individual enslaved Africans cost up to $200, the equivalent of $3,800 today, to rent for a season, and CSX took full advantage. Brown Brothers Harriman is the oldest and largest private investment bank and securities firm in the United States, founded in 1818, owned hundreds of enslaved Africans, and financed the cotton economy by lending millions to Southern planters, merchants, and cotton brokers. Brooks Brothers, the high-end suit retailer, got their start selling slave clothing to various slave traders back in the 1800s. Bank of America found that 2 of its predecessor banks, Boatman Savings Institution and Southern Bank of St. Louis, had ties to slavery, and another predecessor, Bank of Metropolis, accepted slaves as collateral on loans. Tiffany & Co. was originally financed with profits from a Connecticut cotton mill. The mill operated from cotton picked by slaves. The U.S. government, the U.S. Capitol building, was also constructed with the labor of enslaved people. The building's construction started in 1793. Like with the White House, officials struggled to find skilled labor, so they turned to enslaved people who were often rented from owners. So when you see that slave labor was used on the Capitol and White House, it's not just about the personal relationships between the founders and slavery. It's about a national and institutional matter that the government itself was involved in slavery.
All right, and the list goes on and on. All right. Now, the effects real quickly. The universities' profits from slavery and related industries help fund some of the most prestigious schools in the Northeast, including Harvard, Columbia, Princeton, and Yale. And in many southern states, including the University of Virginia, enslaved people built college campuses and served faculties and students. Early benefactors who gave money to Brown and Harvard, for instance, made their fortunes running slave ships to Africa and milling cotton for plantations in the American South. Now, Georgetown could afford to offer free tuition to its earliest students by virtue of the unpaid labor of owned slaves on plantations in Maryland. At the University of Virginia, founded and designed by Thomas Jefferson, slaves cooked and cleaned for the sons of the Southern gentry. Take a listen, if we were to go back in time, to some of the slaves that cooked for Mr. Jefferson.
Excuse me, Mr. Jefferson, sir. I got your neck bones. Pita bread, cornbread, soda bread, rye bread, sourdough bread. Oh, did I say cornbread? Yes, cornbread. Ready for 'em in the morning. And I'll have Madison, Eston, and Peter's drawers washed too. Lord have mercy, I am tired now.
Okay. Now, Yale inherited a small slave plantation in Rhode Island that it used to fund its first graduate program and its first scholarships. Number 2, blacks at work. Now, listen to just 4 different black people explain what it's like working in corporate America. Listen up.
I want you to know how it feels to be the only one that looks like you in a conference room, in a meeting, at a networking event, or happy hour. I want you to know what it feels like to constantly have to assimilate yourself and integrate yourself into another group's culture and way of doing things, even though you're citizens of the same country. I want you to know what it feels like not to be able to stand up for yourself or correct someone's assumption about you or your culture or community for fear of losing your job.
I am white enough that people are comfortable with me, as long as I don't call too much attention to my blackness. I'm seen as black when they need me to shed insight and speak to the black experience, as if my voice could possibly explain all thoughts and opinions on what an entire race of individuals and business owners want or need.
It feels insulting when you're hired by a company that repeatedly shouts diversity, but only one other person in the office actually looks like you.
I'd like the white folks at my office to know we see you. We see through all the insincere words that are never followed by action. We see that you talk the talk of diversity and inclusion, but we know that you don't walk the walk. You allow inexperienced white girls and guys to try new positions and advance in their careers because you intrinsically trust them to fail forward. We see that you pay the black people less than the white people for the same work.
All right. So one thing that I have experienced is black jokes at work. But let me go through Ferguson Police Department. All right. Now, here are some racist jokes that the Justice Department uncovered, all of which come from current employees from the Ferguson Police and court officials made over email and were apparently sent during work hours, right? On November 2008, email said President Barack Obama won't be president for long because what black man holds a steady job for 4 years.
I'm the least racist person in this room.
Okay. Now, on May 2011, email said an African-American woman in New Orleans was admitted into the hospital for pregnancy termination. 2 weeks later, she received a check for $5,000. She phoned the hospital to ask who it was from. The hospital said Crime Stoppers.
I'm the least racist person in this room.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
A June 2011 email said a man wanted to obtain welfare for his dogs because they are mixed in color, unemployed, lazy, can't speak English, and have no freaking clue who their daddies are.
I'm the least racist person in this room.
All right. On October 2011, email had a photo of a bare-chested group of dancing women, apparently in Africa, with the caption, Michelle Obama High School Reunion.
I'm the least racist person in this room.
The Justice Department found no evidence that any of the police and court officials who engaged in these emails were ever disciplined. The investigation also found no indication that any official asked the sender to stop sending such emails or any proof that the emails were reported. Instead, the emails were usually forwarded along to others, the report stated. Now, most of the time, prejudiced people conceal their true beliefs and attitudes because they fear others' criticisms. Now, they express prejudice only when the norms is in a given context clearly communicates approval to do so. They need something, the immediate environment, to signal that it's safe to freely express their prejudice. However, the real problem might not be in the humor itself, but rather with an audience. All right. The dismissive viewpoints that a joke is just a joke, even is disparaging. You can look up the traffic stop numbers for Ferguson. Okay. Andy, your thoughts on what you just heard?
I got pulled over one time, but it wasn't a traffic stop. I was parked when I rolled down the window for this cop, and his mouth flew open, and all I can say is that what he saw was slob on my knob, like porn on the car. Check in with me and do your job. Needless to say, I didn't get a ticket, honey. Check and mate.
Oh my God. Andy got to leave that shit alone.
Andy. All right, what do you think about this? What do you think about this information from Ferguson all the way to Harvard, to these schools and universities being built? Is it the same old, or is it, what do you think?
It's same old. Basically, I had a thought while you was talking. It was about dealing with the point in which we had kind of lost it. I had it right on the tip of my head too.
Andy, you want to help out?
Yeah, help me out, Andy.
We'll come back to you, huh?
No, help me out. But it was, I lost my thought right there. I had something I wanted to say, and I did lose it. Shannon.
I mean, every thought that he said in regards, is like a racist in this room, from being able to appear white enough to get along, but to also be black enough to answer the black questions. Although I am not the spokesperson for every black person in America,
Right.
but they tend to think that,
Right.
whether it be from something serious to what we're doing with our jobs, to politics, to hair, to skin, they tend to think that you are the representation for everyone. So
Right.
I definitely relate to that and understand that. But I think, and it's very true. It happens. I'm fortunate that, one, I work from home, so
Right.
I don't have to deal with it a lot. But when I was in the office, it was a real thing. So I think that, it happens. But I think what has to happen is we have to be comfortable enough to stay true to really who we are. Like to not conform or to become this chameleon to blend in because we're afraid that they're going to go to HR or they're not going to accept us, whatever it is. You have to make people accept who you are. And I think ultimately, if you do that, you can still keep your job. You can still thrive in America. You might be in some uncomfortable situations, but I just think you have to make people stand in their truth, that
Right.
you can't make me be the representation for every black person.
Right.
And I have to stand in my truth that that's not who I am.
Right.
And I have to tell you that.
Right.
So I think that it's on both parts, but also I think if you do your part, I would say as black people, if we do our part, it will force some, not all, it will force some people of other races to wake up and realize that what you're doing is not okay, or what you're doing is not who I am. And you have to be sometimes maybe the first person to do something different
Right.
than your class or your generation or your parents has done, and then go back and teach them to do
Wow.
something different. Somebody got to break the curse. In black families, we talk a lot about breaking generational curses.
Right.
You have to break the curse, whether it be in corporate America or somewhere else, to teach these people how to treat you.
Oh man,
That's what
good
that comes down to.
Strong.
That's some good stuff right there.
That is good.
What you think? What you just outside the box? It don't necessarily be along that lines.
No, she spoke a lot of truth to a lot of stuff that's going on in the workplace, man.
Yeah.
It's, you deal with it on a daily basis, really. And you try, like you said, you don't want to become a chameleon.
Yeah.
that you don't want to do. But then at the same time, you understand that it's an exercise we was doing that we're going through. You know, you have a lot of HR classes and stuff that they teach.
The diversity training.
Yeah, diversity training and stuff. And one thing that I come to understand, matter of fact, they all looked at me crazy one day when I made this comment. And, you know, they talk about integrity and respect and all of that. And I asked the question, is this to be used in a sense of when it's, how did I put it? I said, I'm trying to remember how I said it, man, because I know it shook them. Mm-hmm. Discretionary. Mm-hmm. Because it ain't used on an equal playing field. This integrity thing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's used, I said, is this to be used discretionary?
Right.
Because that's what I've been seeing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's crazy, man, because they just don't apply the same rules equally all the time.
Right.
And I ain't gonna say it's always black on black. Mm-hmm. It can be white on white. I see how sometimes, man, they'll pick on their own.
Do you think their own, could they judge people because they're poor or less?
I think it got an economic class.
You think so? I think so too.
Yeah, I think it's an economic class, man. Because I'm not gonna sit here and say it's always black on black that they do this with. I've seen them do it on white folks too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I sit back and I look. I said, man, he being fair. Matter of fact, I had another white supervisor who was being abused by another white supervisor, and I'd seen it. I was a witness to it.
Right.
And I told her, I said, look, you got a witness if you need one, because I ain't like what he did to you.
Right.
And she looked at me, she said, thank you, Larry. I said, yeah. That wasn't right.
Right.
You know, man, so this thing is, it's an ugly world, man.
Yeah.
Cold world.
It's an ugly world, man. And like
world.
I said, it ain't always black on black. I mean, white on black. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I see it white on white, man.
Right.
And it is just ugly. It's just an ugly way to live, man.
Right.
And it's just ugly. So I told her, I said, look, you need a witness, you want to go to HR, I go with you. I'll be your proof.
I'll be your alibi.
I seen what he did to you, and that wasn't right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, hey, man, wow, man, this world's, like I said, this world is ugly, man. And it's left up to the good people of the world to get the ugly people in the world right, or to root them out. They try to root us out, the ones who want to do right and be right. It's the ugly people in the world, man, that's making this world so chaotic.
Well, you know, I have names for women that I date. You know how you rate them from a scale from 1 to 10? I don't do that anymore, 10 being the highest. I just put the ones that are ugly, I just call them racism.
I love it.
That girl's is racist. Wait a minute, Rob, but she's black.
They don't matter.
Oh, damn. Man.
She's racist. It don't matter. It don't matter. Black on black crime. Black on black crime.
It comes in all forms, man.
Yep.
And
I'm with you when you're right.
You got to recognize, let me tell you something, man.
Talk to me.
Let me tell you something about me. People ask me, say, man, you Republican, you Democrat. I'm neither. Mm-hmm. I am. I'm neither. I'm for whoever's going to vote in my interest, who's going to represent me properly. That's who I vote for. Seriously.
Right.
Because you got to understand, when we started out, we was Republicans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
When we first started out, man, we were Republicans. Mm-hmm. Democrats were the ones that tried to keep us enslaved. Mm-hmm. I don't get caught up in that crap. I really don't. I'm voting for whoever's going to represent my interests. Mm-hmm. Don't get caught up in the politics of Democrat and Republicans, man, because it's all a game. Right. And when you look at it all and look at them, say something about the presidents of the United States. all of them belong to the same fraternity, skull and bone. I don't care if you Democrat, Republican, or whatever. They all in the same fraternity.
Yep.
Right.
They playing. We on a chessboard, man. It's a chessboard being played here,
Right.
and we got to understand that, man. They don't care nothing too much about you. They care about the agenda, what they got going on.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah,
Right.
they care about the agenda, what they got going on. So don't get caught up in Democratic or Republicans, man, because look here, when it's all said and done, they all belong to the same fraternity.
And that's eye-opening that we'll take a look into.
Yeah.
All right. That's an interesting perspective from Miss Montana and
Yeah.
Uncle Rico, Andy and Oliver and myself. Thank you for tuning in to the Doneson Podcast.
What you said.
Peace.